this is Santiago here on Strawberry Ink. I apologize that I've been out the past few days. There's been a lot going on. And this episode today is about a case that on Court TV, Law and Crime Network, all those channels, it was titled The Black Swan Murder Trial. Black Swan, just like the movie, of course. Because this was basically a real-life reenactment of Black Swan. And this episode is one of my extras. It is not in my calendar scheduled for today. The one for today is another case that I'm not really in the mood to make an episode about it right now. It's a pretty hard case to discuss, honestly. And last episode was a bit hard to discuss. The episode before that was even harder, about the Cinco de Mayo serial killer. That was a very difficult one to talk about. Anyways, there are certain cases from certain countries that are just so gruesome that even I myself that discuss so many murder cases and get used to it, I myself have a hard time covering certain murders. Because certain murders, gosh, they're just something else. Anyways, the person today I will be discussing. She was a ballerina, a former beauty queen, a socialite, a new mother, and in 2020, this person, Ashley Benefield, became something else, a murder suspect. Welcome back to Strawberry Ink. I'm Santiago, and today we're diving into one of the most viral, bizarre, and polarizing cases that ever came out of Florida, the story of the Black Swan, Ashley Benefield, and the night she shot her husband. On November 4th, 2020, an arrest warrant was issued for 28-year-old Ashley Benefield. It was not unexpected. She already knew law enforcement was looking for her, and the next day, she surrendered to the Manatee County Jail directly, where she was processed. She was formally charged with second-degree murder for the fatal shooting of her husband, Doug Benefield. Doug was pronounced dead at the Manatee Memorial Hospital. Gunshots were fatal, and according to the prosecutors, Ashley pulled the trigger during a custody battle over their 2-year-old daughter. But Ashley claimed something else entirely, that Doug was abusive and she feared her life. At her first court appearance, Ashley stood before Manatee County's Chief Judge Charles Williams. The judge appointed public defender Leland Taylor to represent her at the stage. Prosecutor Suzanne O'Donnell, a seasoned assistant attorney, took on the case for the state. Judge Williams ordered that Ashley remain in jail without bond. This was not a tabloid sideshow. It was real, raw, and divisive. The case was later assigned to District Judge Stephen White, who oversaw the arraignment. Ashley Benefield pleaded not guilty to the charge of second-degree murder, the only charge she faced, and Judge White confirmed that she would remain in custody to await her trial. Behind bars, Ashley refused to back down. She did not take a plea deal. She maintained her innocence, insisting she acted in self-defense. The trial kicked off in the summer of 2024. Jury selection started on July 22nd. By the next day, testimony had begun. I am sorry for the airplane flying over me. Happens sometimes. I have my windows open because of the beautiful weather outside. And I'm discussing a woman that's been through hell. Over the next week, a storm of emotion, accusation, and character dissection unfolded in that courtroom. Ooh, a crow during a true crime episode. Nice. The prosecution painted Ashley as calculated, a woman desperate for sole custody who fabricated stories of abuse to justify murder. The defense, now led by private attorney Neil Taylor, argued that Ashley was a victim, that Doug had a temper, that she feared him, and that she believed what was necessary to survive. On July 30th, the 6-person jury deliberated a verdict. Ashley Benefield was found guilty, but not of second-degree murder. Instead, she was convicted on a lesser offense, first-degree manslaughter. Judge White ordered that Ashley remain detained, and in the weeks that followed, her legal team tried to shake the outcome, but Judge White stood firm. In September 2024, he refused to overturn the conviction. A month later, he denied the motion for a new trial. Ashley had no choice but to file an official appeal, which she did in November. Her current attorney, Neil Taylor, is fighting the appeal to this day. Meanwhile, Assistant State Attorney Rebecca Fleal is leading the charge to ensure it does not go through. On December 3rd, 2024, Judge White issued Ashley's sentence. 20 years in prison, followed by 10 years of probation. The once elegant ballerina, known as the Black Swan, is now a Florida State inmate, serving her sentence at the Homestead Correctional Institution in Florida City. Is Ashley Benefield a woman who pushed too far, the survivor of an abusive marriage, who reached a breaking point? I think so. Or was she a manipulator, willing to use any means necessary to eliminate a custody battle, even if it meant pulling a trigger? The truth may never be crystal clear, but one thing's for sure. A beautiful marriage turned into a deadly tragedy, and the Black Swan fell. My advice to the ballerinas, cause I know in history, lots of ballerinas have been through hell, sadly, and I'm against that. I advise ballerinas, if you can, stick to the queer boys if boys are what you dating, or if you're dating something else, stick to that then. Because, I know there are people of all types that may be mean or abusive, but please, whether you're a ballerina or not, choose your partners well. And remember, ink fades, but stories like this, they leave permanent marks. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Strawberry Ink. Please follow, share, subscribe, and like, and have a good rest of your day.